hunt is on to find the best Italian restaurant in Las Vegas. Not a day goes by that someone doesn't share with us their recommendation for the top spot. We've already done one video countdown on this topic, so today we've chosen 5 of the most recommended places not in our previous video. And of course, I'll tell you what I think, ranked from least to best. Welcome to Let's Eat Vegas, your guide to the good, the bad, and the delicious. I'm an award-winning chef, and I grew up in an Italian household, raised on old-school recipes handed down through the generations. The meals were delicious, yes, but they also evoke the deepest memories of my childhood. I went on to become a chef and spent years cooking Italian professionally, which only sharpened my taste buds and raised my standards. So when I say something's worth eating, you can bet it survived a ruthless taste test. Finally, stick around to the end of the video, as today we have a special offer to announce. Okay, sit back and relax, and let's get started. Coming in at number 5 in our countdown is Il Toro e la Capra, or The Bull and the Goat. It's the brainchild of Javier Barajas, the man behind Lindo Michoacan. He knows his way around Latin flavors, and the Mexican menu here proves it. I've covered it before, and their Sunday brunch. I'd be back for that faster than you can say chilaquiles. The concept here at Il Toro e la Capra is 2 cuisines under one roof, Mexican and Italian. The Italian is supposedly a fusion, and while the Mexican food shines, I felt the Italian offerings I was served today were a letdown. About the nicest thing I can imagine is that maybe the chef responsible for the Italian food had stepped out of the building for a few hours, replaced by someone whose knowledge of Italian food is limited to a single culinary credo. Italian food means oregano, and lots of it. And the service was also disappointing. After sitting down for 10 minutes, I looked over for help, but our server was deep into texting and didn't even notice us. Not a promising start, and things actually went downhill from there. They brought out complimentary chips, salsa, beans, chimichurri, and homemade dinner rolls. And honestly, they were the highlight of the meal. The chips are clearly made in-house, the dips are craveable, and the rolls? Soft, yeasty little scratch-made clouds of downright delicious dough. But once the entrees hit the table, it all went awry. We began with chicken marsala, one of my favorites, and I picked fettuccine with marinara as my side. The pasta? It's homemade, which is a huge plus. But with the sauce, really the best thing I can say is not to say anything at all. To me, the chicken marsala had an odd, borderline offensive flavor. Too many onions, not enough marsala, and a lingering taste of fryer oil. Felt like it had been working overtime since 2006. But that's just how it hit me. The vegetables were doused in oregano, making me think the chef possibly owned stock in an oregano company. If you've ever chewed on a handful of dried herbs and thought to yourself, you know what this needs? More oregano. Then you'll love this dish. Growing up, our neighbor Dolores Cantazera and my mom had an ongoing rivalry over who made the better red sauce. Dolores thought oregano was a food group. She drowned everything in it. My mom's sauce, on the other hand, was perfectly balanced. Every time Dolores brought something over, my mom would smile politely, thank her, then toss it straight in the trash the second Dolores walked out the door. I was 6 at the time, and I asked, "Why'd you do that?" My mom just said, "Because if I'd thrown it out when she was here, it would have been really insulting." The sauce on this chicken parmesan, well, slightly better than Dolores's, but not by much. The chicken had a decent crunch, and the breading held up. But the red sauce, oregano strikes again, with what felt to me like a strange, funky aftertaste that lingered longer than an impolite house guest. I waved the white flag and asked for fries instead of more veggies, and the fries were fine. Then came the penne pesto. At this point, my expectations were pretty low, and I was half expecting a bowl of oregano soup. Thankfully not, but they drowned it in sauce until it looked like green baby food with some wilted salad tossed on top. The pasta was mushy, looked to me as though it had been cooked, forgotten, and resurrected hours later. Okay, 3 cheese ravioli. Should be an easy win, right? No, not this day. They drowned the poor ravioli in a heavy cream sauce that tasted to me like more of that fryer oil and disappointment, if disappointment had a flavor. I felt the sauce completely overpowered the filling. These innocent ravioli, they deserve much better, and if there's a pasta afterlife, I hope they're resting in peace. I don't like trashing restaurants, especially ones that nail half the menu. But the Italian food here isn't just off. In my opinion, it's bad. Not, it could use some work bad, but don't do this to yourself bad. Sure, the prices are fair. $18 for Italian entrees in Vegas is a deal. But I can hear what my dad would say.
No matter the price, if it's not good, it's expensive.
If this were someone's first taste of chicken marsala or ravioli, they might swear off Italian food forever. So do come for the Mexican food. Brunch, yes. Tacos, absolutely. But if you wander onto the Italian side of the menu, well, consider yourself warned. And that's why Il Toro e la Capra lands 5th place today in our countdown. Coming in at number 4 is Roma Deli, which has been part of Las Vegas for over 2 decades, originally opening as a modest Italian market and eatery. It built a loyal following of locals who came for the prosciutto, stayed for the pasta, and left with a bag of Italian cookies and a bottle of wine under their arm. Over the years, they expanded to a few locations, and today, they're still doling out plates of pasta and pouring espresso like it's $19.99. So when I saw a banner outside one of their spots so massive it could probably be seen from outer space, screaming, "We're open!" I figured maybe Roma wasn't really doing very well. This was a big red flag and should have been my first clue, but I thought, well, those reviewers can't be wrong, could they? From the glowing Yelps, I expected a virtual cornucopia of handmade Italian goodies. Fresh pasta, warm crusty bread, desserts straight out of Nona's kitchen. When I saw bakery in bold letters on the sign out front, I got excited. But once inside, I was immediately hit with boxed Maria pasta on display as part of the decor, as if it was a badge of honor. We asked our server if they made everything from scratch, to which she replied, "Just the sauces and the tiramisu. Everything else is store-bought and pre-made." Well, not exactly the homemade haven I was promised, but no reason not to give them a chance. One Yelp review I read swore this was the best calamari in Vegas. That's a bold claim. While I wouldn't go that far, it was solid. Light, crispy, not greasy. The calamari was tender and not rubbery or fishy. It's well seasoned, and the marinara is tasty. But to me, the marinara screamed store-bought. If it's homemade, I'm a monkey's uncle. But still, not a bad start. I take Caesar salad personally. I built my reputation in LA on my version. This one looked great, neatly plated, but that's where the praise ends. The dressing tastes to me as though it came from a wishbone bottle, heavy on vinegar, tangy mustard, and seemingly highly processed. Yelp said the croutons were made from their own bread, but I felt they tasted like the kind that comes in a bag from a discount store. As for the table bread, it's from Bomb Bakery, which I usually like. But here, they drowned it in a garlic oregano oil that overwhelmed my taste buds. And as you all probably already know by now, I have an aversion to overly oreganoed food. I love chicken marsala, especially when it's done right. And this version was fine. A thick sauce, decent mushroom presence, and a whisper of marsala wine. The chicken was lightly breaded and cooked well. But I found that overall the dish was forgettable. Not bad, just not amazing. It came with a side of pasta with marinara sauce, but I upgraded to linguine with bolognese for a $2 upcharge. The pasta was cooked al dente, thankfully. The sauce reminded me of the spaghetti sauce that used to be served in grade school cafeteria, somewhere between chili and lunch lady meat sauce. It's not offensive, but if you had it once, well, once is enough. We finished up with tiramisu, and this dessert was the straw that broke the camel's back. I grew up on tiramisu, taught to me by my Nona, made the old school way. Egg yolks whipped with sugar, Stiff egg whites folded in, a little mascarpone, some vanilla. Simple, traditional, and perfect. Or the modern shortcut, mascarpone and whipped cream cheesecake style, or as I like to call it, the modern restaurant version, since the health department won't allow us to use eggs in their raw form anymore. Well, this, I don't even know what this was. No mascarpone, just a puff of whipped cream and soggy lady fingers with bitter coffee. I found it nearly devoid of any flavor and flat out sad. This ranks right up there with some of the worst tiramisu I've ever had, if not the worst. I came in with high hopes, and as they say, expectations are disappointments waiting to happen. I don't think Romadelli is the worst Italian food in Vegas, but it's far from being the best. And at these prices, I believe you have way better options around town. It's not a total disaster, but for me, a return trip? No, not unless I wear a heavy disguise and bring along the official Let's Eat Vegas food taster. Filling the number 3 spot is a Mono Italian restaurant. At 5601 North Tenaya, it's a bit out of the way, but thanks to a viral surge on TikTok and YouTube, it's quickly become a foodie magnet. And naturally, we had to see what all the buzz was about. I also thought the name was clever, as a mano means by hand in Italian. And I took this as a good sign. Better known as arancini to those of us raised on Italian comfort food, these deep-fried rice balls are a classic appetizer both in Italy and stateside. Online photos made them look huge, almost comically so. But in person, they were on the smaller side. Still, they were well executed for an American take. The shell had a satisfying crunch, and the inside oozed with melty seasoned mozzarella tucked into creamy risotto. Flavor-wise, they didn't quite transport me back to the streets of Palermo, but they hit the right notes. The marinara had a homemade feel, though it leaned a little too sweet for my taste. Still, props to the chef for making it from scratch. It's clear they're putting in the effort. We were invited into the kitchen to watch this unique dish come together. The Fat Baby starts with a hollowed-out loaf of bread, which acts as a base for pasta coated in a rich, cream-based sauce. Although the menu calls it carbonara, it's far from the Roman original, which uses eggs, pecorino romano, guanciale, and black pepper, and no cream. This version leans heavily into American comfort food, using a sauce more in keeping with a bechamel. The pasta is stuffed into the bread, then topped with a generous layer of melted cheese. If you love cheese, you'll enjoy this ooey gooey molten cheese texture. It's as dramatic as it is delicious. Make sure to bring your camera, because this dish is not only tasty, but Instagram worthy. In Italy, chicken parmigiana would never be served over pasta. Doing so is more of an Italian-American adaptation, designed for heartier appetites and American-style plating. This version features a nicely seasoned crust and a golden brown finish. The tomato sauce was serviceable, but I found it overly sweet and somewhat flat, lacking the acidity or complexity that defines a great marinara. To me, it didn't quite deliver the layered flavor I look for in this dish. That said, if you're seeking depth and richness, the cream-based dishes are a better bet. The Fat Baby remains the standout. This dessert brought the meal to a strong close. Made with a blend of mascarpone and Philadelphia cream cheese, the texture is light and smooth, without being overly dense or sweet. The crust is buttery and crisp, adding a pleasant contrast to the filling. A vibrant lemon layer on top gives it a fresh, citrusy brightness, cutting through the richness. The fresh blueberries add a touch of tartness and round out the flavor beautifully. This cheesecake shows a thoughtful balance of texture and taste, and it's one of the better versions I've had in a long time. If you order just one thing for dessert, make it this. Amano clearly doesn't aim for authenticity. It leans fully into bold, indulgent comfort food with an Italian-American bent and serious visual appeal. The Carbonara Fat Baby is the centerpiece for good reason. Rich, dramatic, and unapologetically over the top. I felt the chicken parmigiana plays it safer and doesn't quite reach the same level. Dessert is what I call surprise and delight. The lemon cheesecake isn't just good, it's refined, balanced, and worth coming back for on its own. If you're looking for a tradition, this might not be your place. But if you're after something fun, filling, and made for modern cravings, this kitchen delivers. Speaking of delivering, I was just delivered some shocking news. If you can believe it, according to YouTube, 80% of you watching right now are not subscribed. What? Subscribing is free, helps us grow, and to bring you more reviews. And if you find value in our reviews, consider making a small donation using the link to buy me a coffee in the description area below. We'd greatly appreciate it. We're back to the heart of it all with today's silver medalist, which is Zio's Italian Steakhouse. If you're after the best of both worlds, where a modern Italian steakhouse meets a classic trattoria, Zio's delivers. This hidden gem inside the Renaissance Hotel, just one block east of the Strip, blends upscale charm with familiar Italian soul. It's still fairly new, and so hard to determine if the online buzz is genuine or part of a slick advertising campaign. Well, after eating at Zio's, I can tell you, it's absolutely earned. This isn't your typical bar-style squid. It's soaked in buttermilk overnight, then flash-fried in a whisper-light batter. What really makes it pop are these house-pickled fried peppers. Tangy, sweet, and packed with flavor, they cut the richness and take this dish to the next level. And the marinara? Bright, fresh, and balanced. Overall, just a wonderful dish. My mother was obsessed with bucatini. It was her favorite pasta shape. She hounded me. I don't care where you are. If you see this, buy it for me. So I was brought up on it, and it's one of my favorites as well. And Zio's version? Well, it's done right. Thick noodles with a center channel that soaks up every bit of their fresh, nutty pesto, made with roasted pine nuts, Parmigiano Reggiano, and a hint of garlic. Heirloom grape tomatoes bring sweetness and acidity. It's simple, clean, and absolutely delectable. I could eat this every day and never tire of it. This rigatoni bolognese stopped me in my tracks. The pasta's perfectly al dente, it's great, but the star is this bolognese sauce, slow cooked and creamy with just the right balance of beef and tomato. It reminded me of a time a guest at my restaurant told me she dreamed about my bolognese sauce, said the flavor haunted her in a good way. She wore a wide-brimmed hat and sunglasses, so I had no idea who she was. Many in Hollywood tried to conceal their identities while in public. She leaned close and said, "You have a rare gift for balancing flavors." Then she added, "Trust me, I write cookbooks." Took off her glasses. It was Suzanne Summers of Three's Company fame. Well, anyway, if I ever don't feel like making bolognese myself, I now know where I can find a worthy replacement. This is what steak should be. True USDA prime grade beef, grilled over an open flame, and seasoned with just salt and pepper. The char is perfect, the marbling melts in your mouth, and the flavor is deep and rich. No sauce needed when the beef is this good. Calling all beef lovers, this is a showstopper. A massive MB9 Wagyu ribeye, seared rare with that melt-in-your-mouth texture only this level of marbling can provide. Finished with a touch of saba, but otherwise unadulterated, this steak proves that less is more. Just fire, salt, and top-tier beef. Worth every penny. Made the old-school way. Whipped egg whites, mascarpone, espresso-dipped ladyfingers, and no heavy cream. It's light, balanced, and honest. A real Italian dessert made by someone who knows how it's supposed to be done. Thanks, Zig. I could have eaten 3. Zio's is much more than your simple run-of-the-mill hotel restaurant. It's a heartfelt tribute to Italian food done with skill and intention. The pastas are soulful, the steaks are top tier, and the attention to detail is clear in every bite. Whether you're local or just visiting, Zio's is worth your time, and you can thank me later. Okay, the moment you've all been waiting for. Drum roll, please. Today's finalist. So it's our great honor to present the pinnacle of pasta, the godfather of gnocchi, the titans of tiramisu. Today's winner, Siena Authentic Trattoria in Delhi. At Siena, it feels like old world Italy right here in stunning Las Vegas. It's not trendy, it's timeless. Pasta, bread, and pastries, all made in-house and with pride. You don't find places like this anymore. Recipes passed down from generations, flavors that take you back. There's been a quiet buzz around town calling this the best Italian in Vegas, so I was very anxious to give them a try, and so very glad that I did. Most places today charge for bread, but not here. The Italian loaf arrives hot, straight from the oven, crackly crust, light, airy inside, and packed with yeasty flavor. The flatbread is crispy with just the right kiss of olive oil, and the sesame-topped Sicilian loaf tastes like something straight from a neighborhood bakery in Palermo. They sell it in the deli, and yes, you should absolutely take a loaf home. These handmade ravioli belong in a museum. Thin as paper, but perfectly al dente. Stuffed with soft ricotta and mozzarella, melts into the light pomodoro sauce. A brown butter and sage sauce tops the dish to give it a next-level burst of aromatic flavor. This is not just dinner, it's a memory. I've made ravioli all my life, but these made me sit back and say,
Mamma mia.
fresh shrimp, lobster, and scallops tossed with tomatoes and scallions in a seafood cream sauce over delicate tagliolini. An amazing trio of seafood here. Sweet lobster, seared scallops, and juicy shrimp give this dish richness and depth, while the bright tomato and seafood broth keep it balanced. It's a modern take on a fisherman's classic, but done with finesse and care. You'll swear you taste the ocean in every bite. Thick, tubular pasta tossed in a rich, creamy pink sauce with roasted peppers and garlic and just a flicker of heat. The real star is their house-made sausage. Bold, juicy, and bursting with old-school flavor. I saw people lining up in the deli for it earlier, and now I understand why. This one took me straight back to my own kitchen, maybe even further to Nona's table. Handmade potato and ricotta gnocchi, so light they almost float, coated in a velvety pesto cream with toasted walnuts and bits of sun-dried tomato, adding crunch and tang. The best part, hidden underneath, is a layer of pure house-made pesto, herby, garlicky, and aromatic. If you're only ordering one pasta, this could be the one. This one is a showstopper. Squid ink pasta tangled in a tomato seafood cream sauce, loaded with shrimp, scallops, lobster meat, and then crowned with a full lobster tail. Every forkful hits with ocean flavor and buttery richness. The sauce clings to every strand, and it all just works. It's bold, briny, unforgettable. You'll be back for this one, probably before the week is out. Since moving to Vegas, I've been on a desperate hunt for a good bakery. Sweet Lady Jane's in LA set the bar high. Well, the Siena Bakery is every bit its equal and then some. For example, this cheesecake. Smooth, airy, and rich, with fresh blueberries bursting on top. Not too sweet, not too heavy, just right. The best I've had in Vegas to date. This cheesecake is Batman, the blueberries are Robin, and all is well in Gotham City. I was already full before my first bite of this cheesecake, but I wasn't stopping. Siena doesn't just serve food, it tells a story. Every dish feels handcrafted, heartfelt, and deeply personal. It's not flashy, not modern, it doesn't need to be. It's the kind of place that reminds you why Italian food matters. If you've been chasing real Italian, this is it. Inexplicably, it took me 8 years to make it to Siena. Well, it won't be 8 years before my next visit. More like 8 minutes. Be sure to give Siena a try. It may become your new go-to spot. So, there you have it. We listened to comments and recommendations and created our second countdown of Vegas Italian restaurants. We started with confusion and oregano overload and ended with handmade pasta, house-baked bread, and flavors straight from Italy. Food so delicious that eating it's like going to heaven. Along the way, we hit some comfort food highs, discovered a few dessert lows, and found a couple of surprises in places we didn't expect. In a city packed with hype and neon, good Italian food isn't hard to find, but places with great Italian food, well, that's another story. And today, we identified two, Zio's and Siena, worthy of that distinction. And of course, an obvious question arises. How do these two compare to our earlier Best Italian video? Well, at the end of the year, we'll have a grand finale top countdown video where a single Best Vegas Italian restaurant will be crowned for 2025. Stay tuned. Now for the special offer. Get 10% off at Siena's when you tell them, "Let's Eat Vegas" sent you. Not valid in combination with any other offers, and available for limited time, so don't procrastinate. One additional note about the special offers we discuss in our videos. We derive no compensation from them. It's simply something we ask restaurants to consider to help our viewers save money. We'll be back to these restaurants again, maybe in disguise, who knows? Maybe you'll see us there. And don't forget to tell them, "Let's Eat Vegas" sent you. This would be a good time to hit the notifications bell so you get a reminder when the next review becomes available. And of course, it's always a good time to like, subscribe, comment, or share. It's free to do so, and it helps us to grow and to bring you more reviews. Until we eat again, bon appetit!